Well, good Sunday afternoon, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boost Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. Don't forget, we've got our live stream, 5 o'clock. Members, channel members, can join in. We'll put the link in the description, in the community tab to join in, and we'll be discussing the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. So one of the problems that the Cowboys people have looked at and talked about so much is culture, that the Dallas Cowboys culture in the locker room is kind of like the country club. That when they go to Oxnard, it's like, we're hanging out, we're Hollywood, we're seeing all the fans and everything else, that we are soft. And you might remember, DeMarcus Lawrence literally said, I'll call it soft. And a lot of people have talked about the Cowboys need a better culture, that, when they're winning, oh man, we in your face, man. We them boys, we lion crawling. We're not doing that anymore. But we them boys. When we lose, we're kind of on the sidelines, real quiet. And people have said we needed a culture change. And let me remind you exactly what D-Law said. D-Law?
We have DeMarcus Lawrence. Go ahead.
How would you address the defensive struggles you had as a unit today on that side of the ball?
In my own words, I'll call it soft. We got to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We got to play together as one, and I don't feel like we're holding ourselves accountable, including myself. So I call the shit soft, and we'll get better from it.
And we didn't. Not at all. Not even close.
Marcus, how surprising is it to see what happened today?
Say it again.
How surprising is it to see this today? You know they're going to run the ball and they're able to go for 307 yards.
Yeah, it's not no surprise. We just got to do a better job of preparing and, really come with our full hearts in the game and play this game for 60 minutes straight. It's just all about bowing down and really showing, that you're a real man out there and playing together.
And not being soft.
DeMarcus, do you think your scheme is sound enough to try and stop offenses moving forward?
It's not my job to think about what's right or what's wrong. My job is to go out there and try to make as many plays to help my team win the game. And I don't feel like I'm doing that right now, and I'll get back to it.
Marcus, why do you think this team is 1-3?
Like I said, we came out the gate soft. In different words, I can call it something else, but it's just all about having some grit and,
All right, this is getting painful here, but you get the gist of this. And a lot of people have said the Cowboys are soft and that they're not tough. So the question is, has anything changed? And, as Cam Newton put it out there, you need a crash out. You need a couple of crash outs, or as other people would call them, dogs. And says George Pickens, that's a crash out guy. And here's the other part of it that's seeming to be taking hold, or at least this is what we're hearing, is that Brian Schottenheimer, Schotty shots, is definitely making a difference with more energy. And maybe it's because he's younger. Mike McCarthy is 62, 63 years old. Schotty's in his 40s, definitely younger. Definitely can relate to the players, and you saw him out there with the Cowboys team building exercise there on the golf course and stuff with his shot, joking with the players. When you hear Micah Parsons literally say, I showed up because of Brian Schottenheimer, you can kind of look at that and say, they're doing team things for this guy. And to a man, it sounds like that's the case. Now, here's an article that I just saw earlier this morning. We've heard all offseason that the impact on the Dallas Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer has made, and clear the locker room is feeding off his personality. With a clear emphasis on relationships and building a culture that the franchise hasn't seen for years, the Cowboys, at least off the field, seem to have monumental changes, and no one can say that isn't for the better. Whether it translates into on-the-field success or not, But according to Cowboys COO Stephen Jones, our co-owner, everything so far is clicking inside the Star. The energy inside our building is just amazing in terms of what Brian Schottenheimer has brought to the staff, Jones said. All of the players are responding to it. It's exciting to see all these guys come together. Indeed, for rookie running back Jaden Blue, I love his energy. He matches our energy. He comes in the meeting room with juice, and he likes to have fun. There is no doubt that the vibe around the franchise is completely different than from a year ago. Yes, the lame duck, blow it up, was a key to the poor vibe, but it feels like a whole lot different. And think about that, though. Everybody looked at it was like, this is it, man. Mike McCarthy, they got no faith in him. Literally they're saying, Super Bowl or bust, and we ain't got no troops here. We ain't got no ammunition, What the hell? What the hell here? This is enemy at the gates, and we ain't got no ammunition. But now, after free agency period, we saw a solid starting caliber players walk through the door. Plus, they're calling a great deal, a great draft haul that had an emphasis on getting the right characters in the locker room. And Schotty and his loving personality will be up to task to bring it all together. Yes, it's early in this offseason program, but there's no denying the energy shift that is taking place at the Star, and that has Cowboys Nation in a bullish mood with OTAs just around the corner. I'm a very on-the-go coach. I think you will see that in our staff. They are very on-the-go and great energy, great juice, Schottenheimer said. That's what it's about. With the coaching staff hires, plus the players signed, it all points to positive offseason for the Cowboys, which is one we haven't seen too often over the years. But the time for talk is over, and it's time to mesh things on the field. And I agree with that. But you know what? If you feel good about going to work and to your job, then you definitely actually, Mike, I think actually the other one is up on upstairs. Give me a second, Mike. Hold on. Okay, I got to take care. My mama said, actually, Miss Tracy is trying to clean the deck off, and she's got a gutter up there we got to clean out. So I need to go get the gutter cleaned out, and then I got to go back and work on the cabinets, and then in 2.5 hours we got our live stream. Now I'm gonna be smelling like shit cleaning out the gutters because it's rotted leaves. In which case I got to go take a shower and then go back in the workshop to cover with dust and then take another shower. The Cowboys should be much better. And, I'm going to sound like the village idiot here. But, when they go through and say that the Cowboys, got no chance at anything and that we're just going to be ass. What's funny is we had some games that were really close against some good teams when we were weak. We lost to Baltimore 28-25, where we only ran the ball 51 yards. If we could have run the ball a little bit better, we might have had a chance in that game. We beat Pittsburgh, that was a playoff team. Now, Detroit, we got blown out. San Francisco was a close game, but both of us were ass. And Cincinnati was another game that had we not made a boneheaded error, we might have won that game. And if we'd won those two games, all of a sudden 9-7 isn't quite as bad. And that's the funny thing about the difference between winning and losing. And I'll also say, oh, no, we beat Tampa Bay, didn't we? Okay. No, in the regular season last year. We almost beat Washington the second time, too. Yeah, we almost beat Washington with Cooper Rush. So there was 3 games right there that could have made us 10-7. Yeah. So the difference of not being soft and maybe being all in, having a running game, team might be better than people think. All right, you good people. Go clean out these gutters. As always, I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.